go to this website. I forgot to put the link here, but I'm just copy and paste to get the place. And please get to a web page that looks like this. What I'm going to be explaining to you is a methodology which is called corpus linguistics. Now, corpus means a body of text to search through, and linguistics is the study of language. So it's like saying data-driven investigation of language. In the past, I didn't know so much about it, so I always recommended people use this Ngram Viewer. It's really easy to use, and it's a good introduction to the field. It's also one of the biggest corpus available for free. So Google Books, they have scanned millions of books. So the database is just so large. Now, this is especially nice for kind of historical data to see when a word began to be used. So for example, I've got a challenge for you. Does anybody know when the PCR technology was invented?
1995?
Oh, say again?
1995?
Sort of close, sort of close. Let's type it in and let's see what kind of data we get back.
Okay.
Okay, so I get something like this. Now, if you go all the way back to the 1800s, we do have data here. But this is not our PCR. I don't know what it is, but it's pretty clear that in the sense that we use it today, it's something that started to happen in the 1980s.
Yeah.
Now, this is a reflection of that invention. It doesn't tell us exactly when it happened, but it just tells us that somewhere around 1985, people started writing about PCR in textbooks, journal articles, and so on. That's what this means. Okay, let's challenge you on something else. How old is virology? If we type in virology, do you think it's going to be older than 1800 or newer than 1800?
Older.
I don't think so, but let's find out. Okay. So, this kind of word, virology, it's a...
90.
Yeah, it really doesn't exist before. There's a small section here in the late 1800s, which is interesting, but that might be noise. That is, it might just be a problem with the data. So it's probably safe to think that somebody invented the word right around, now the smoothing is on 3. So that's actually a 7-year average. That's the meaning of smoothing. It means 3 to the left and 3 to the right, averaged. So somewhere around 1937 or 1939, some person probably invented the word. And that makes sense because viruses weren't discovered until the 1920s or 1930s. However, what if we look up the word virus? Do you think it's before 1800 or after 1800?
Before.
It is.
18.
I think it's before as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because it used to mean something different. But notice again that use of the word starts to peak as we know it today, in the around late 1920s, 1930s. So again, this is not proof, but this is an indication of when certain events take place. Okay, is this concept okay so far?
Yes.
It's okay?
Yes, yes.
Okay, thank you. Now, I guess for your writing that you don't care about the history so much. That's probably more like people like me. So usually when I do a search, I just change the search terms to the most recent 20 years of data. And so that's one issue with this data set. It's kind of old. 2008 is the most recently available year. So I usually do a search from 1988 to 2008. And even as a native speaker, teacher, I sometimes am not sure about prepositions. Prepositions, that's like in, at, on, for. Those are hard, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Do you have, oops, oh, don't look at that. I don't want you to see my search history. Do you have any prepositions or a phrase that is hard for you? I know that's a kind of a difficult question, but yes. So, did you have a
Yes. At something.
at?
Yes.
Now, if I only use at, I can't give you so much information. But so I'm actually looking for a phrase that you have. And when you're writing your phrase and you're wondering, which preposition should I use? I think this is a really good tool for that. So maybe I'll just start with my example. And if you think of something later, please tell me.
Hey.
So I was reading a student's paper. This is some years ago. And she was telling me, actually, this is good for Yuji. She was from your old lab, and she was telling me about tick-borne encephalitis virus.
Yes.
And she said tick-borne encephalitis virus is endemic, and then she said Asia. But I didn't know, she chose a preposition, but I had a feeling that she was wrong. I don't think that that's what it really was. But let me just ask you, first of all, who knows the meaning of this word, endemic? Can somebody tell me?
Endemic, endemic is maybe mean of some spreading or some spreading of the infection or some. Sorry, I think so. Yeah.
Not exactly. Not exactly.
Oh, so
Does somebody else have an idea?
It means local.
Yes. Can you? And when you say local, can you expand a little bit on that?
It means outbreak in in one or a little bit region,
Oh.
like coronavirus.
Okay.
Yeah.
Kind of. I want to. Oh, sorry. Someone.
Yeah. Can I?
Yeah. Go ahead.
Okay. I think endemic means it was outbreak is happened in the recent and it did not spread to other location.
It happened at the location. Did you say it happened recently?
Yes. Yeah.
Probably not.
Okay.
I think there's some confusion with this word because of the word epidemic. I wrote in the chat. So if you in the chat, I wrote that these three words are not completely clearly defined, but I think most people agree that an outbreak is smaller than an epidemic, which is smaller than a pandemic. And all of these words indicates some kind of an outbreak of a disease, some kind of a spread of a disease at different sizes. But let's be careful with the parts of the words here. So epidemic. Who knows the meaning of epi?
Above or on or over?
On, yeah. Basically means on, over, or above. In this case, dem, it actually means people, like democracy. And this word comes from the idea that a disease is like above the people, or there's some kind of a disease on the people. Pan means all or all over. So pandemic is all over all of the people. But our word, endemic, means in, like I-N. So in this case, endemic just means exists there. Like Joyce said, it's local. It's something that lives in this area. It's often true that it is disease, but not only disease. It's also for animals. So, Joyce, I don't know much about Taiwan's animals. Do you have any animals that live in Taiwan but not anywhere else?
You mean unique animal in Taiwan?
Yes.
I think we have Taiwan bear.
Oh, really?
Yeah, only in Taiwan.
A Formosan black bear. Cool.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay, it's a subspecies of the Asiatic black bear.
Yes.
Cool. Good for you. Okay, perfect. So this would be endemic. Oops. Oh, no, it says it right there. Oh, no, don't look. Ah, it gives you the answer. Okay. Okay. It said it right there on the article. I don't know if you saw. But, yeah, so endemic has two meanings, actually. One is for disease and one is for species or organisms. Now, let's just do a search and we can see what the prepositions are. Okay, this asterisk is, it's part of the signs that I gave you here on the Word document. This is the search tool that I use most on Google Books. It lets you find the top 10 words that exist right here. Now, in our case, there's only two options. Any other option is not statistically significant to the machine, so they only give us two. Now, one more thing, this data is kind of up and down. I want to know more specific. So it seems like endemic in is used 2 or 3 times more often. I think if we just put the smoothing on 20, we'll get better data. Okay, so endemic in is used 3 times more than endemic 2. So you might think, okay, well, I'll just use endemic in. It's more common. Maybe it's more correct. But actually, if we want to search for how it's used, we can click on this data right here. So I'm going to hold the control button and push click so I can get 2 new tabs. And I can kind of read through the ideas. So this book is about zoonoses. This is about flu endemic in Asia, disease endemic in Asia. Another fluke, which is a worm, endemic in Asia. Another worm in Asia. What is this? Something about pathogenesis in Asia. Foodborne viruses. Okay, let's check endemic 2. Now we have kind of more environment, like tigers are endemic to Asia. Species endemic to Asia. Here's a disease endemic to Asia. Viruses endemic to Asia. Flu endemic to Asia. Species. So there is some overlap, but if you tried to make a category. What kinds of words are using in? And generally, what kinds of words are using to? Does anybody have an idea?
Mostly they used to together with the species.
I think so. I think so.
Yeah.
And that's why on our Wikipedia article, they had Formosan black bears are endemic to Taiwan.
Yeah.
And it seems like diseases are more endemic in. But it's not totally clear that way, but it is interesting that on our cases of in, we don't find any animals. Okay, so my point kind of is, with this and everything else today, how could you know that as a non-native speaker? Like, is there any way for you to know that? So I think my student wrote something like, tick-borne encephalitis virus is endemic to Asia. And I said to myself, like, it's probably fine, but kind of like my English teacher's sense was buzzing. Like my receptor was going up, like, it doesn't really feel right. So I checked on here. I was like, okay. It's probably fine. It's not such an important issue, but probably better to say endemic in Asia. And as a native speaker, I can usually choose the right word just because it's in my brain somewhere. But for you guys, how do you do that? It's almost impossible unless you have, probably decades or more of experience.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping to give you some tools so you can confirm this stuff and also investigate for yourself.
Yes.
I'd like to show you another way to use this. So like I said, I use it for prepositions a lot. But let me show you another thing we can do. I saw this phrase from one of my students, and it said something I didn't like. It said play yeah. It said like this. They had a word, they had a word right here. Play a blank roll in. You all know this phrase, right?
Yeah.
Play a role in something. And I was curious if the students used the word the right way or not, the word that they put here. So I wanted to check. Now, before we check, can you just maybe shout out, what words do you think are the most common to fit right here?
Important.
Important, good.
Yeah, I think important. Yeah.
Good. What else?
Major.
Major. Critical.
Crucial.
Did you say crucial? Yeah, awesome. Great. Everything you guys said was great. So, yeah, good. Major is at the top. Crucial and critical. Crucial beats critical by a little bit. But honestly, I'm sure this is statistically insignificant. But we don't have important. Why is important not on here?
Maybe the article.
What's that?
Oh, because of the, I think this is because of the article.
Do you mean because of
Yeah.
Exactly. So that's the issue. So that's why we have to do a double search and now we have to do play and roll in. So, bad search. So please always consider that computers are stupid. They can only accept information if you do it the right way. So please always do. So this is wonderful news, though, because everybody's instinct was correct. Your instinct told you, hey, important is really big. And you're right. Yeah, look at that. Oh, we can't read the data, but okay, it's, maybe 2.5 times more used than major. So well done, well done. So this, you can see it's giving you the top 10 results when you use this, if they are statistically relevant. Okay, does that make sense to you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Something like this.
So there's a lot more you can do with Google Books, and I gave you some symbols here that can help you do the searching. But because of time, I want to move on, and we may come back to this, or we may not. But I think there's a lot of limitations to this method, and one of those is it's hard to find what comes before this phrase and what comes after this phrase. Furthermore, the data set is mysterious. We don't really know much about where the data is coming from. And if you're writing a scientific paper, it's a very specific type of writing. So that's why I made a database of just scientific papers. At this point, I'd like to ask you to open up the AntConc. So please load the files. You should be able to open file and go to your OHEC by article. If you have the older version, it says OHEC by article, but it's almost the same. And you probably have to click on one and push Control A for select all, and then push enter or click open. All right, just to show you what it's made out of, I can, for example, go to File View, and I can click on any of them. I'll just click on this Archives of Virology, some random one, and you can see what it looks like. So I just went to File View, and I just opened a random file just to see what it looks like. And I'll show you guys what's in here. There's 651 research articles, and I kept the title, I kept the introduction, the methods, the results, and the discussion for all of these. I did not keep anything that has to do with figures or acknowledgements. I did not keep abstracts and any metadata. There's nobody's names and stuff on here. So it's generally pretty clean data. Okay, so that's just what it's made out of. If you're curious to see more details, you can open this Excel file, which I put on the Google Drive. And this will show you all of the details of all of the journals involved, including the number of articles. I gathered these by asking our students for recommendations. So you can see that on the 4th tab here. We have 26 labs, and I asked one representative from each lab for journals that they depend on. And I took a survey like that, and I made representation based on what they recommended. I also asked our teaching staff, and they recommended more difficult journals, like New England Journal of Medicine and Lancet. Does anybody read Lancet?
No.
Sometimes.
Really? You're just trying to show off. You don't read it. No, it's good. So these are ones that the professors think students probably should read sometimes. Oh, actually, Yuji, your professor was very helpful. Very helpful. He actually called me because I sent an email to all these people, and he was the only one who called me and says, "Mike, why do you want to gather these?" And I told him the reason. He says, "Okay, let me think about it." And he gave me some very nice Very nice journals. Okay, anyway, so that's how it's made up. And it basically fell into 5 categories. Basic science. And by the way, these categories come from Insights. Insights is a famous journal database, and it's where you can find impact factors and other information. Maybe for this group, you're most interested in the infectious disease category. Although you don't have very original names for your journals. Journal of Virology, Journal of General Virology, Virology, Archives of Virology. Here's the human medicine ones. Multidisciplinary science. Now, I said that all of the articles were taken randomly. That's not true here. For these ones, I made sure to take life science articles and not physics or earth science. And finally, we have veterinary medicine. Okay, so that is the makeup of it. And with this data, I think we can find some nice writing solutions on this for this tool. So let's go back one more time for our searches that we did on Ngram Viewer. And let's start with the endemic search. So could you please type in here, endemic, and then you can do an asterisk. Oh, but you know, if we do Asia, it's not gonna show up. There's not enough data, you know? That's what's nice about Ngram Viewer. Let's do, before we do endemic, let's do play a role. Let's change that. Let's try the same as Ngram Viewer and play asterisk roll in. And after you type that, please push start. Oh, oops, my sort is different from yours. I'll put mine on the default. Okay, so you should get some data that looks like this, yes?
Yes.
All right, so we can see what's big. Critical's pretty big. Crucial's pretty big. Fundamental, key. Ah.
Right.
Okay, which one looks like the biggest one?
Critical.
Critical is the biggest?
Oh, no, major.
Yeah, I think so. It's hard because critical looks like crucial. It's easy to mix those up. Probably major. Probably major.
Major,
probably
yes.
major. But we're having the same problem. We don't have an. I want to get an on here. Now, here's one of the benefits of the AntConc is they have more search terms for us. So on this same handout, which has the Google Ngram Books data, if you go down to page 2, it's got the search methods for AntConc. Now we have an option that gives us some flexibility. If we use this plus, we will be able to include important. Do you understand what I mean?
Yes.
Okay. Nian-chan So, was that you?
Yes.
In the chat section, please type in the search term. What kind of search term can you type in to give us both results back?
Any word can I type in?
Yeah, please type into the chat box. Or anybody who knows the answer, what search term should we use to get this data plus the data for Anne? You can use this sign.
Okay. Okay. I think I got it.
If you know the answer, anybody, please type it into the chat box.
That one.
Oh, not that one. Is it possible to type the full? Oh, okay.
It's L or exclamation
I
mark?
see. You're trying to do this one, aren't you? Okay, good.
Yeah.
Okay, that is a bar. That's a straight bar.
Oh, straight
And
forward.
that on my keyboard is Shift, and then it's the button just to the left of Enter.
Okay.
Left of
Yeah. Or
Oh, okay,
did you
I
find that
see.
one?
Shift N. Sorry,
It's-
can you tell me
Sure.
again? Shift N?
You know, yeah, it's Shift, and then there's a button that's just above the Shift.
Okay.
It's just above the Shift and left of Enter.
Yep. I found
All right.
it. Okay.
But I'm still looking. What is the? Huh. Oh, I see. I'm only chatting to Sol. Oops. Okay, now I'm chatting. Now I'm chatting to everyone. I made a mistake. Okay. I see. So you're saying we can do like this. We can take this whole thing. We can copy it, and we can put it on the other side here, and then put Anne like that. Yeah, we could do that. Let's try that. Push start.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see what we get. So we've got this critical, central, major. There it is. An active role. An essential role. Oh, look at that. Important is the
Important,
winner. Yay! Okay, so this is fine. Good solution, so good solution. However, there's an easier solution. There's an easier solution
Okay.
to use this plus. On the Word document, we have this plus. Does anybody see what I mean?
Yes.
If we,
Yes.
let's put the plus right there, and we're going to get the same data. There it is. Okay. Now, let me just explain this a little bit. So let's look at important. Let's say who's played an important role. Let's find something from virology. Here we go. I've got one from the Journal of Virology, and it says these residues play an important role in antibody recognition. It's from the Journal of Virology from the year 2016, the author, and the country, which in this case is Spain, and then the university or the institution. Now, perhaps we are more interested in the words that come before play. We can rearrange the sorting of this. This data is called KWIC data. KWIC is keyword in context. And we can sort it down here, like maybe I want to see what comes to the left. So I'm going to change my default to 1 to the left for level 1. And for level 2, let's go 2 to the left so we can see a deeper pattern. And for this one, let's see what we need. We have 1, 2, 3, 4. So this one actually needs to go to 5 to give us anything unique. And let's push start. Oh, oops. I didn't need to push start. I just needed to push sort. But it's okay. Either way, it would be faster to just push sort. So now we can see trends that come before this phrase. Also is big. Sells is big. Could. Oh, may is the winner. Just like scientists. Just like science. They don't want to be so strong.
Two is a winner.
Oh, 2 is the winner. I got too excited. Thank you. Thank you. Oh, this is good stuff. Have been shown to play an important role. That's a crazy cluster. That's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 word cluster that's repeated more than once, you know? Who says this? A guy from the UK and a guy from China, from 2 different journals. Okay. At this point, I feel like I should say something about plagiarism. Do you guys know this word, plagiarism?
No.
The verb is plagiarize.
Copy to someone.
Okay. Copying someone.
Is take without referencing from someone else's writing or speech.
Okay, good. Those are pretty good definitions. So, this is the part that's a little bit tricky, because here I am, a teacher, telling you to look at other people's writing and copy it and put it into your writing. So maybe that's a problem. So I just need to talk about this a little bit. And it's interesting that in both of these definitions, we have the word someone. And I want to emphasize that word one, as in one person. This is the danger of plagiarism, is copying too many things from a single person's paper. But, you know, it's actually impossible to write a paper without copying a certain number of the clusters of words. Do you remember this Excel file that I gave you a while ago? I gave you this, and I updated it for you on the Google Drive, and it's called the OHEC Words by Corpora for Students. I gave that to you, right?
Yes.
If you look on here, I also gave you this old word clusters. I gave this to you some weeks ago. And I was trying to tell you that some word clusters are used by everybody. So for example, this phrase, in this study, basically half of all authors use this word cluster. So if you were a student saying, oh, you know, I don't want to copy. So if this person says in this study, I shouldn't say that. I better say in our study or something. It's actually okay to copy word clusters. And that's why I tried to make this metaphor. If a word is a gene, a cluster is a sequence. And bacteria, they borrow sequences from other bacteria and viruses all the time. And they copy those and pass those down, and that's okay. If E. coli takes some sequences from Salmonella, it's still E. coli, you know?
Yeah.
Because E. coli also takes sequences from other bacteria. If E. coli only took like 30% of its genome from Salmonella, then we have to say, wait a minute, you're not really E. coli anymore. You're cheating. I caught you, you know? Like you don't belong in my group anymore and we're going to kick you out. And that's why if you plagiarize like one person, they'll kick you out of the PhD group. Okay. To be serious, I've read about this now because it's a concern for me. I mean, I don't want to seem like I'm telling my students, yeah, just copy other people. It's great. But this is a active discussion, especially because these kind of opportunities are increasing with technology. And there's kind of an indication that copying up to somewhere around 5 words is roughly okay. But there's a few conditions. So let's say like, okay, I'm just kind of looking for so I opened up this file. Now we have this 5-word phrase, something like this: which play a crucial role in. Which play a crucial role in. That's actually 6 words. Do you think it's okay to use this phrase or not okay?
It's okay.
It's okay.
It's no problem, right? This is,
No problem.
Yeah.
I mean, play a crucial role in, it's kind of like one word, you know? It's such a common phrase, you can't be considered copying. So even if it's 6 words, it's fine. On the other hand, if we took something like this, BPA alters cytochrome 4 P50 enzymes, maybe not so good, right? So it depends what you're copying. If you're copying grammar type words like these, it's probably okay to copy up to about 5 sequences. But if it's really, really content-based stuff, you don't want to copy that. That's what they will catch you on, because nowadays they use very powerful software to check for this kind of thing. And I also want to say one more thing. I know that lots of students read their papers from their group or also from their journal they depend on. Now imagine that you always read the same journal. There might be some kind of set phrases or things that are often said in that journal. And you may have a danger of copying too many patterns from the same author or the same group of authors. And there's some danger in that. And that's one reason why I wanted to mix a wide variety of authors together for this database. I do actually have some physical data for this as well. So in order to make that clusters handout for you, I actually went through and collected lots and lots of clusters. So on this Excel file, I collected all of the 2 grams. That is 2 words that are next to each other that everybody uses. So it turns out that every single paper uses of the. And almost every paper uses in the. And look at this, I collected 13,000 of these.
Oh.
Oh, and by the way, this word range means the different number of papers. Frequency is total uses. Range is how many papers. And you can see in our database, our maximum range is 651.
51, yeah.
So everybody uses of the. It's impossible to avoid using that one. But even if we go down to 13,000 cases, we still have 13,000 cases of at least 15 different authors reusing these 2 grams. Okay, and then if we go to the 3 grams, I did this with the 3 grams, and now maybe you notice some of these 3 grams because I included some of these on that word clusters. But I collected a lot of these too. I actually collected 20,000 of these. So there's 20,000 3-word clusters which are used by at least 6 different people. And then the story goes on, and for the 4 grams, there's 13,000 used by 4 people. And as we keep going, 5 grams, we find 3,000 used by 4 people. There's a big drop-off for the 6 grams. There's 800 words used by 4 people. And for 7 grams, we have this kind of thing. Also, the quality of this starts to really change after 6. So if we look at the top for 7 grams, it's just the kind of stuff that is in the New England Journal of Medicine. It's the kind of standard phrases that you have to repeat, you know, the Institutional Animal Care and Use Committee. So this is just kind of the boring stuff that is in the method section. But here's one. The aim of this study was to, that's a long 7 gram that's okay to reproduce. I hope that you understand what I mean. If we go to 6 grams, it's similar. This is kind of just stuff that's in the methods section, not particularly so useful. So there is this kind of data to show that, well, still in the 5 grams, now you have things like on the other hand, on the basis of the. These are kind of still useful phrases that's used by lots of different authors. So I think it's data like these that also support the idea that up to about 5, you can probably feel safe. Okay, does that make sense to everybody?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, okay, thank you, thank you. Maybe you already know this stuff, but I have to be honest with you. Each year, I tend to find 1 or 2 students who copy and paste things that they give to me, and it makes me pretty angry. So I just sometimes have to say this kind of thing. Okay. Let me get back on track. This data is interesting, but there's too much. Look, we have 161 lines of data, and I don't want to look through all of these. I want something that's clean. So let's do the same search, but let's go to this tab that says clusters ngrams. This is my favorite. This is my favorite tab on this whole program. So you probably have something that looks like this. Now the default cluster size is too low for us. So we need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's just do the min max both to 5 so we get nice clean data. So please push start for this one. Oh, I made a mistake on mine. Yeah, my mistake is that my search term is on the right. Yours is on the left. Let me do that one more time.
Yes. Yeah. And for that row.
So in the end, our data looks kind of like the Ngram Viewer data.
Yeah.
Which is like, for me, I'm like, kind of like, yes. But also, it's just weird to me also because this data is so specific, you know, academic bioscience articles. And this Google Books data is so much more. Yet important is used, you know, about 2 or 2.5 times more than major. That's the same. Critical and crucial. Now that's actually switched because on this one they have crucial over critical. Kind of interesting. But not really significant, right? It's relatively similar to this data. Now, as I said earlier, the range means the different number of authors. So I tend to sort by range rather than frequency. In this case, it doesn't make much difference because there's very little change, but in other cases, it does make a big difference. Let me show you what I mean. Let's do our endemic search again. However, in this case, if we do endemic in Asia, we won't get any data because my data set is not big enough. So instead, let's lower the cluster size just to 2. And let's see all the words that come after endemic. All right. Did you get something like this?
Yes.
So this is also sort of similar to the Ngram data. In is used 2 to 3 times more than 2. But wait a minute. We have something Ngram Viewer doesn't have. We have 4. What's going on there? Let's click on this one and see what it looks like. Now we can see this kind of data for 4. I'm going to change my sort again so it's just a little bit easier to see. Okay, do you see anything interesting or strange about this data?
It's a species.
You think it's mostly for species?
Yes.
Endemic for the disease, PZs.
Maybe disease. Disease. Disease.
Disease, nay. I think it is for disease,
Okay.
yeah. Filariasis,
Yes.
Leishmania, endemic for Bancroft. This is for an organism, but yeah, it's a pathogenic organism. Okay, I mean, true, that's a good point, but I see something else with this data that I'm a little bit suspicious about, or I'm a little bit, that's interesting. Does anybody see something that's, sort of surprising about this data?
This sentence from same
Exactly.
same
It's
journal?
all from the same journal.
the all is post-neglective tropical disease.
Right. So interesting to me. And, I mean, the plus journals are mostly fine, but at the same time, we know plus journals are not probably reviewed as much as some other journals. So that makes this a little bit suspect to me, especially considering we didn't see it earlier in the Ngram data. So if I see something like this, it makes me think, well, it's possible that this is some kind of a group of people that read this journal and tend to copy what they see in that journal. And that's another case that I'd like to make, that it's good for you to take your samples from a variety of journal to keep your writing fresh. Okay, is this all okay so far?
Yes.
I have a
Sure.
question about in quick sort.
Yes.
1L, 2L,
Yes.
and 5R.
Yes.
What does it
Sure.
mean? What does it refer
Of
to?
course, of course. Thank you for asking. Our first word of our search term is endemic. So this is called the node. This is called the node, N-O-E-D. And when you sort something, it's going to sort it one to the left of that node as the first level of sorting. Let's use another example. Let's look at viral. Can you all type in viral for me? Actually, that was probably a bad idea. Too much data. Sorry. Anyway, I wanted something with a lot of data. It's okay. Viral is an adjective. So it might be, in general, adjectives describe a noun that comes after. So if you want to see what an adjective is describing, it's often good to look at what comes to the right. So I recommend that we sort our data 1 to the right for level 1. And that's going to show us every word that's most common after viral. And after that, I guess usually I do 2 in a row just because we can sometimes see interesting patterns if we do 2 in a row. So I'd like to do my sort as 1 to the right for the first screen. For the second screen, or the second level, we'll do 2 to the right. And then I usually like to do my last one to the left. So let's sort that and see what we get. So do you notice how it starts with A? It's going in alphabetical order from 1 to the right. So it starts with all of the A words. That's why we have and now antigen, attachment, capsid, clearance, control, DNA, and so on. Does that make sense? And if we're interested in the second to the right, maybe, well, so here's a phrase that's used a lot. Viral genomes were, although it's all from a single author. Look at that, and one other author. I don't really see so many interesting 3-word phrases here. I mostly just see lots of oh, here we go. Viral life cycle. Finally found one. Oh, that's a big one. In the viral life cycle. Of the viral life cycle. So this is one way to try to find patterns of words that are really important for you. Like if you're going to be using a word a lot, I kind of recommend you just look through some data like this just to see how do people use your keyword. It's impossible to have master of every word, but you should have mastery of your keywords. Okay. Now, of course, we can do it the other way. Instead of having 1 to the right, we can do it 1 to the left. And if I do that, I'll probably also do 2 to the left and change this one to 1 to the right and sort that. And then we'll check, do we see anything interesting? Viral, affect viral, and viral, between, chronic, during, enhanced, for. Ooh, lots of in. Of. Ooh, of is huge. Look how huge of is. Yeah. Oh, I love it. Synthesis of viral proteins. Numbers. Levels of viral. Ooh, this is good. Level of viral something something. Although a lot of them are from the same author. Okay. Did that help you? Is that clear now, Cartoon?
Yes. Very
Okay,
clear.
thank you.
Thank you.
Sorry. I did go overboard because I'm trying to explain something. This is not the best way to investigate. This is the most basic way. I think we should, if we want to do this kind of investigation, let's go to clusters. This will be a lot better for us. Now, this is how I usually use this. I come to the clusters section. I make sure my sort is by range. I keep my minimum cluster size to 2, but I increase the maximum to 5 or sometimes 6, but usually I go to 5. And with a word like viral, it's so common, I might as well increase the range a little bit just to reduce the amount of data. And let's start and see what we get. And this will be a lot cleaner way to see the patterns. Now we see very clearly which of these phrases is most often used. And as long as we have the range up to about 3, we can probably even go down and see stuff like viral RNA was extracted. We can use that. That's okay to take. Viral replication and pathogenesis. That's a kind of a cool phrase. So I would recommend starting here, and then if you want to know more, like, oh, viral shedding. How do people talk about viral shedding? Then I would click on this one, and then I would sort it and see and try to find any patterns like that. That's generally the way that I would use this software. Okay, is everybody basically okay?
Yes.
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 Okay, thank you. Let me think here. Let me show you one more thing, and then we'll take a 10-minute break. Do you guys know the most common word in English? This is just actually this is true. In any field, any large text, there is one word which is always the most common word. Any idea? Sorry, what did you say? The, yeah, good. Yeah. Okay, so we can find this out by going to word list and push start. And this will just give us a very plain one-by-one ranking of all of the words that are in this corpus. All right, the, of, and, in, to, and so on. We can see the total data. So it tells us there is 2.8 million words, and there are 52,000 different types of words in this database. Let's check on the Google Books just to see if it's the same. Can you imagine what to type into here to get a list of the most common words? Very simple. Just do an asterisk. So it's about the same. The, of, and. Now in this database, in is more common than to, so these two are switched. I guess this is because of in vivo and in vitro. That probably boosts the data a bit, but not sure. Another difference? Is. Yeah, is the top verb on Google Books. But here we have were and was, and here is. Any idea for the reason why?
Because in most people who like past tense or present, sorry, past or present.
Yeah, the past tense is used more, especially in the methods and results. And the methods and results sections are longer than the discussion and introduction in most cases. Also, cells is ranked 13th. That's kind of crazy. That's not normal. So cells is all over this database.
Yeah.
Okay, and I don't know if you ever want to do this, but if you did want to search by a term, you can type in whatever you want here, such as like if you want to know how many times do people say might, you can type in might and then you can push search only and it will show you where is might on here. You can also do this for general words like what are the words most commonly ending in ing? And you can do asterisk ing and push search only. And we find using is number 1. And we can go through the hit locations like this: during, binding, signaling, including, and so on. So I don't usually do that, but that's something that you could do on here. In general, if I was going to do that, I would probably just go to the cluster's ngrams and turn the max to 1 and just push start. The cluster's ngrams is almost always the best tool if you can figure out the right search methods. Okay, that's where I'm going to have a pause. Let me show you a few more things with AntConc, and then I'm going to shift to the Excel file, and then finally show you an online resource that is really, really excellent. Because I'd like to give you a variety of tools that you can use for the correct problem that you have. Okay, did you have a specific example for us right now, Cartoon?
Last night I have some questions about the phrase over the period of time.
Okay.
I'm not sure that this phrase is correct in grammar
Right.
or not.
Over, did I write? Oh, sorry, I'm not sharing my, let me share my screen. Okay. Did you say this, Cartoon, over the period of time?
Yes.
Okay, well, I mean, very simply, we can just plug it in and search it to see if anybody has it. So it's not in here. But then again, it's not the biggest database. Do you know what I mean? It's 2.8 million words, which is kind of big, but it's not super big. So we might try it in Google Books and see what they have. So I know this number is probably confusing to you to interpret this y-axis, but just trust me, this is a fairly large amount of data. Yeah, so this suggests that it's a fairly common phrase. Now, is it used the way that you want to use it? I wonder. So, so for example, business. I think this is something about Indian religion. I mean, which it still might be okay. It might be fine. I'm trying to find something that's kind of in our area. Parenting. Okay, soil. Okay, the pH of the soil gets reduced, and over the period of time, such soils can be put back. Okay. Well, this is an author with a name like this. Might not be a native speaker. Because I have to say, my native sense is going off a little bit. And I'm not sure this is the right. I'm not sure that's right. Because also, this is an international conference, which means it hasn't necessarily been edited by a proper publisher, if that makes sense to you. Now, the way they used it here was a bit different. So, earning interest over the period of time before taxes due. This is okay. Because it's the period of time before tax is due. That's kind of the cluster here is the period before. So it sort of depends on what you have after that. However, maybe we're trying too much. So for our corpus, you just need to learn how to ask the question in a more sensitive way. So let's be more sensitive to the data, or to the data, and make it easier. So let's just try period of time and see what people say about period of time. Okay, so I have my defaults on left already. So it's showing us what is happening before, and we see a very strong trend for a period of time. It's a very strong trend for a. But maybe this is what you're looking for. Your phrase is very similar to this one with same. And these people are from Canada and USA. So if what you were writing, could you possibly say over the same period of time? Because besides this, we only have two other examples of the. So the period of time we were able to keep. The period of time elapsing between. Yeah. Oh, I see. The period of time we were able to keep the ex vivo did not allow us to. Right, right. So that's a good sentence. But does that give you some ideas about how you might search for a similar phrase? Cartoon, do you see a phrase that might work for you?
Oh, yeah, thank you. Okay.
Yeah. A lot of times a non-native speaker will catch this kind of information, you know, like I think that after you all read a longer period of time, a short period of time, I suppose you all understand this pretty easily. It's the output that's so hard. You have a lot of input like this, and you also know, oh, the is a really common, you know, phrase. So maybe just put in the. And I do have some data that suggests non-native speakers use the too much. I compared my native speaking corpus to those published in non-native speaking countries, and the non-native speaking countries used the at a higher percentage than the other ones. So it seems like you might be overusing the in general. Like, well, not just you, a lot of people.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
so. Because I use many the.
Still, you got me curious. Let me search the other way. Instead of saying of time, I'm interested in over. So let's try this. Over, and let's do a space period, and let's see if we get anything interesting here. Yeah, so again, we don't get much for the. Over the period. Over the period. Uh-oh, watch out, it's us plus neglected tropical people. Over the period of study. That sounds right to me. No, I mean, and I think that's right. Over the period, this many suspected dengue fever cases. That sounds good to me. You know, so even though is very much more represented, it certainly does not mean that the is wrong. This one, I have to say, actually does look wrong to me. Let's see. Demonstrate constant viremia and virus shedding in both animals over the period of 12 weeks. Well, now, did he talk about the period of 12 weeks earlier? The is really, really hard, though. I have to be honest. It's very hard to teach, and it's very hard to understand. It could be okay. It could be okay. It's a little bit hazy. But so please just try to be flexible with the types of ways you ask the data, and you should be able to get a fairly close answer. Well, I think I want to show you maybe just one more function on here, and then we'll probably move on. So I'd like you to look at the Collocates tool on the AntConc, and we're going to use this with this new worksheet, which I had put on Google Drive, this Word document called Using the One Health, using OHEC Student Handout.
Okay.
So I made these little challenges for you to just help you to practice using the different sections of AntConc. But I don't want to go through them all right now. I'll ask you to do it by yourself later, and I'll send you the answers in a few days. But you don't need to return this to me. This is just for you. Okay, and I just want to do number 3 right now. I am interested in this idea that certain words have a certain feeling that is very hard to find out unless you do an investigation. So for example, we investigated endemic in and endemic to, and we discovered disease is more likely to use endemic in, and organisms use endemic to. Now I want to look at 3 words that kind of mean a similar thing, and they sort of mean affect or happen or influence, that kind of word. So let's start with roll, the word that we already looked at a little bit. And just to be very simple, let's put roll in here in our Collocates file. And you'll notice that I already turned the minimum frequency up to 6. Your default is at 1. That's kind of like garbage. We never want that low of frequency. I don't know why the default is at 1. Even 6 is a little bit low. Let's actually turn it up to 7 and just get a little bit cleaner data. No, let's turn it up to 8. and please push start. This is going to tell us the kinds of words that occur around the word roll. Okay. Did you all get data like this?
Yes.
All right. Well, we see that the top words that come up are plays, played, and playing, and play. And this is organized by stat, which is it's a correlation calculation based on the 5 words that surround our search term on both the left side and on the right side. That's this window span thing right here. 5 is the default. If you want it to be a little bit tighter, you can lower it, something like that. Now we can see more detail because we see for plays, played, playing, almost always they occur on the left side and not on the right side. Do you understand what I mean? Can
Yes.
somebody explain why this is the case? Why do the data show almost always occur on the left and not on the right? I just want to say it's just the way that people use the word roll. It's like a set phrase. We pretty much always say play a role, blah, 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 or played a role, or playing a role. It's kind of like a single word almost. Do you know what I mean? Like play a role. It's almost one word. Let's try clicking on played and see if it gives us our good data. Yeah, I swear this thing sometimes gives good data and sometimes doesn't, and I cannot understand the reason why. But anyway, we get one case of the role that blah, blah, blah played. So this happens occasionally. Sometimes play occurs on the right side of role, but almost never.
Yeah. I have 64. Oh, sorry.
Right. Like this is something that this software is just broken on. I think it's just a glitch. so hold on. So when you click this, you got 34 lines of data? Yeah, that's what I want. I want your data. It sometimes works but it usually doesn't, and I just can't explain the reason why. Let me try this one. Sometimes it gives you 1,000 lines of data. I get nothing. There's something I don't understand about this still, but anyway, that's something for another time.
You want to share on my
Oh, yeah, sure. Can you? Or do I need to do it? Can you try to do it? Yeah. It's what I wanted. This is what I want. Because I noticed there was 34. Yeah, can you show us some where played comes after? Essential role played by. A key role played by. Yeah. Possible role that selection played. Significant role played. So it's funny, it doesn't sound bad to me, the possible role that selection played. It sounds kind of okay, but very few people talk that way, which is just, it's interesting to me. How about anybody else? When you clicked on it, did you get this kind of data?
Yes, the same.
The same.
Vessel.
So not me. Are you using? Yeah. So you're using 2019. Is everybody?
Yes, sir.
Is everybody else using 2019?
Yes,
Me too.
2019.
I wonder what is different about yours and mine. Anyway, let's move on. Thank you so much. So could.
Okay. So I will start the sharing.
Okay, so thinking about what does role do? We see words like play really dominates, clinical trials, pivotal, crucial, fundamental. We see a lot of these words that we already saw before. Key, investigate, determine. Oh, look at this, regulating is really high, 60 cases. Let's try to click on that one. My data is poor. Why is it like that? I really don't know. I guess do you guys get good data if you click regulating?
Regulating.
It's all on the right side, isn't it? So it's something like the role of blah, blah, blah in regulating something. So this is the kind of phrase that you can catch with the collocations tool, which you can't catch with the clusters. Does that make sense? There's kind of too much information in between role and regulating to find it on clusters, but you can find it on collocations. Because 60 is a very high frequency compared to everything else, isn't it? Okay. So if we made a summary for role and what kinds of words interact with role, I guess we could call this like the epigenetics of role. You know, the genetics of role is like you get this sequence that's like play a role in. Okay. But what about like all of like the meta stuff going around it, making it express in a different way? It seems like it's a lot of adverbs like key, or excuse me, adjectives like crucial, key, vital, important, prominent, determining. Oh, investigate is another big one. Right. Investigate the role of. Oh.
Can you share your screen?
Oh! You should have told me earlier. Come on, you guys. You make me embarrassed over here. Oops.
Sorry.
Oops. Look, I'm just over here being really sad because I don't get anything. Maybe I need to clear my search term. Maybe if I clear that. Look, I really want to see investigate. But I get nothing. Poor me.
Oh.
Do you guys get something good if you click investigate?
To further investigate.
Ooh, that sounds cool.
Sure.
Right, to further investigate the role of. That's a good one. Okay, we can start to see certain verbs or patterns that are used with role. Now I want to search for another one. I want to search for cause. Okay. Now, you guys, if I type in cause, I could still get some good data. Maybe I'll just push start just to get some data for cause. But I'm not so happy with my search term because it's incomplete. Cause is just one form of the verb. I didn't expect to see. I didn't. Does does your data look different than mine?
No, different.
It's different, right?
Yeah.
What is, okay, it's time to close this and restart. What is going on with this? That's really weird. I can't explain that. Okay, let me try again. I don't think I changed any settings. Because, you know, you can go to global settings, and there are some things to change in here, but I'm pretty sure I didn't do that. Sorry, guys.
Okay.
But think about a better search term for use this other paper that we had that has these search terms. Who can write in the chat a good search term for the cause, which will include the past tense and the other forms of cause?
Cause.
If you have the idea, please put it in the chat.
Mm.
Okay. So, Joyce, thank you. You're writing some good words that are associated with cause, but at the moment I'm hoping for a search term, which will give me more data. Because I want data that is going to include caused and causes and causing. So what can I search for that? Here we go. Now I got the same data as you guys.
Yes.
You know what I'm guessing it might be? Because I was searching things earlier, there was probably some kind of a memory in here. Yeah, because now I'm getting the data back in a good way. Weird. I can't think of why it would do that. Okay. But anyway, at least my problem is solved. Okay, guys. Any ideas for cause? Cause side effects. So again, that's those side effects are good words associated with cause. But what I mean is, I want you to use some of these search functions to be able to, so especially use the plus. That's what I mean. How could you use the plus to get more interesting search, a search term? Yes.
Sensei, I have a problem. The screen you share is freeze in my.
Uh-oh.
So I will leave the meeting and I will
Okay,
try
sure.
again.
Please do. Thanks.
Okay.
Okay, guys, I'm going to reveal the answer. This one's pretty straightforward. Just put a plus at the end of cause. And that's going to give you now. Well, actually, here let's just prove it. If we can prove what we get by going to the clusters and cause and just do a search like this, and we can see all of the search terms that will be included in this. Does that make sense? If I only did cause, I'm going to lose a lot of other data.
My search result is not the same as.
Oh, really? Did you?
Yes.
Yeah.
Did you do it?
Cause.
Caused infraction.
Yeah.
Cardiac stroke.
I put your cluster size to max 1.
Oh.
Sorry, I didn't tell you
I see.
that I did that clearly.
Cluster.
Cluster.
Yeah,
Cluster.
down here.
Cluster. Okay.
Now we could do just this, which is pretty good. We'll get more results this way than if we just did cause. But I also want to have causing. So I just use that bar right there to say or, and that's going to also give me causing. Okay. I just went to this Ngrams tab just to check, just to make sure my search term is appropriate. And I'm pretty happy with this search term. So I think now I will go back to the Collocates and search again with this. And I think I will get better data than what I have here, because it will include a lot more terms. So I'll push start again and see what I get. Okay. Okay, are you with me on this?
Yes.
Okay, great,
Yes.
great.
Yes.
Just staying on this first page, so we have from rank 1 to rank 32. We can go down later, we'll do that later, but just staying on this first page, there's different ways to read this data. And so on my paper, not this one, but the other one. On my paper, I put death as my first collocation, because note that I said write the non-grammar words that are highly associated with cause. And I put death at number 1 because the statistic is high. It's not the highest, but it's pretty high. And the frequency is the highest among all of the high statistics. So I'm kind of looking at both of those to determine what type of word is most associated with cause. Can you please tell me some more? As you tell me the words, you choose a few words on here and tell me which ones I should write. Go ahead and shout them out.
Pathology.
Ooh, I'm sorry. Could you say it one more time? Pathology.
Please.
Ooh, sorry. One more time.
Disease.
Disease. Uh-huh.
Yes.
In.
In is common. I'm sure it is. But please give me the non-grammar words.
Non-grammar word.
Mortality.
Yeah, mortality.
Apoptosis.
Apoptosis. Where is pathology? I can't find pathology.
Rank 35.
Oh, right. There it is. Okay. You like that word. Frequency is a little bit low. A little bit low. But, yeah, for sure. It's definitely fits the mood here. I was going to say some other high frequency words like severe.
Infection.
Infection. Yeah, I was waiting for somebody to say infection. Severe. Maybe also cardiovascular. Okay. We could stop there, I think. Can you tell me what kind of words these are. What sort of quality are all of these words sharing? Let me say another way. If we imagine the pattern, A causes B in the organism. Or okay, let's say A causes B. Now, if I ask for you, if A causes B for you, do you want that?
That's already a
Yeah,
bad
they're all
thing.
negative.
Yeah.
Isn't that weird?
Oh, I see.
And everything on here is like a disease or something pretty negative. Severe is like that too, isn't it? Severe it kind of means very, but actually it's always bad, right? You wouldn't say like, oh, I had a birthday party and I was severely happy. We just never talk that way. So I learned about this from cause, from a class I took about this corpus linguistics. And yeah, like the class had other native speakers. And when the teacher showed this to us, we were like, oh, that's weird. I mean, I thought of cause like cause and effect, kind of like neutral. I thought it was a neutral word. It's like that's a scientific word. It's neutral, but it's almost always for bad things to happen. Which I guess if as a native speaker I probably did know that like in the back of my mind. But as a non-native speaker, it must be very hard for you to realize this kind of thing. And that's one reason we want to push you to do this kind of investigation sometimes when you're writing, and you can probably learn about words a little bit faster than if you were just reading about them. Let's do the same thing with lead. Can somebody give me a good search term for lead? Because now I want to include lead, led, and leading. Can somebody give me that search term in the chat box?
Lead.
Lead to.
Me too.
Lead to
Okay,
plus.
that's correct. Like it very, very often is leading to, lead to. But what I mean is I want to get this kind of data. We just got this kind of data for cause, causes, caused, and causing. All of this data is for all four of those. Like, okay, like I'm afraid to click, but I'm going to try to click for stroke and see what happens. Yeah, no, it's exploding. It's giving me way more than I want. But the point is, this data includes caused, cause, causes, causing. It's not very good for searching this way, though. But what I mean is, what can I type in my search box so I can get all three types? Lead, led. Oh, and I also want leads and leading. Can somebody give me
Lead plus and bra. Lead, leads,
Excellent.
leads.
Excellent. Like that? Yeah,
Yeah.
that'll do. Good job. Yeah, using the or bar is probably the easiest. But I have a feeling that if we use that, we won't be able to do the search in the concordance. Oh shoot, I'm on the wrong page. Oops, sorry guys. But please go ahead and do this same search on the Collocates. So anyway, now we see our search terms are good search terms. This is what we'll enter into the Collocates. And so can we please do the same thing? Can you please say out loud to me the collocations associated with lead, and I will start to write them down.
Damage.
Okay.
Damage.
Increase. Increase.
Increase.
Loss.
Loss. Have you all noticed also you can sort by frequency if you want to? And that sometimes gives you another way to look at it. You might want to just ignore the grammar words and look at the high frequency of the others.
Activation.
Yep, activation, I've got that one. Expression, yep.
Change.
Please say again. Change, thank you.
Expression.
I've got expression, thank you. That's okay.
Okay.
Production.
Formation.
Good, that's probably enough, thank you. All right, do we have an idea of what lead means? Do we have a category for all of these words?
Change.
Change something? Yeah, that's what I get to. It could go up, it could go down, because we didn't say it, but also we could probably add to this decreased and other words like that. Yeah, it's something like a change or...
Bring to.
Oh, you think it means like bring to, like activate or express? It's something like that, like bring to, yeah. I was gonna say happen or happening, but yeah, bringing. It's probably fair to say that this is more of a neutral word compared to cause. Okay. So you can't do this for every word. Certainly not. That's going to take you too long. But I would encourage you, when you're writing, to just kind of have this program open. And every now and then you're like, da-di-da-di-da. Is this really the right word? I wonder. You know, because you might have something like consequence. And another word you might have is like result in. You know, or so maybe you could have a phrase like be a consequence of, or result in a. So it turns out that result in a something is pretty neutral. It can result in something good, it can result in something bad. But if to be a consequence of something is also one of those kind of negative words. It's not always negative, but generally it's like a result that a lot of people don't want to get. So there's a few words like that. And when you're writing your paper, I think somewhere inside of you, because you are all now advanced English learners, you have some like a native sense growing inside of you. And your receptor should sometimes pop up. And you can say, is this right? I wonder. And please just have a check. I know you can't do it for every word, but if you start doing it right now, by the time you're a third year or a fourth year student, you're going to have accumulated this kind of knowledge. And I believe that this way is faster than if you are just always reading and taking it passively. This is forcing you to be active about how you're gaining new words and phrases. I think that's my main goal for giving this to you.
Fascinating.
That's probably what I want to say for AntConc at this point. But would you like to ask any other questions about AntConc or what we've talked about so far?
Yeah, no Sansi.
Mike, may I ask a question about symptom? Is symptom can use in animal or just for people?
Oh, good question. Good question. What is your assumption about that? Do you think that answer is yes, or do you think the answer is no?
Because someone told me I cannot use symptom in animal, but I don't think so. But
Right. No, that's a really interesting question. I just asked you because before you investigate, I always want to encourage you to predict what you might find, and that will help you to interpret the results. So like I said, I generally start on the clusters and n-grams. And Joyce, what kind of phrase can you expect to find? Like symptom of, or show symptoms in, or so, because we have to decide, are we going to search on the left or on the right?
Oh, maybe show symptoms in
Okay, so
component.
let's then search on the right side. So this way we'll get some results of, like, for example, show blah, blah, blah. And then we can click on that and see if we get some animal examples. I suspect you're right, though. I'm pretty sure you can see that in animals.
Yeah.
Okay. Clinical symptoms in animals or just humans? Let's click it. It's the most common one. It shouldn't take us too long. Okay, so clinical symptoms. First of all, do we have any veterinary journals?
Clinical symptoms of mice.
Yeah, here's veterinary research. Veterinary research. So already it seems like probably the answer is yes. And did you already see something in mice?
Yes.
Treated mice show less severe clinical symptoms.
Yes, 24.
Yeah, good. Differences in the clinical symptoms of mice. Right. So I think that's a pretty clear answer. I'm just going to click on this one for veterinary research and see what this person says, because they have lots of cases. Pestiviruses may induce various clinical symptoms depending on viruses. Okay, what are we talking about, though? Okay, we're talking about pigs. So yeah, that seems like no problem.
Okay.
Okay, is that okay for you guys?
Yes.
Okay.
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 Actually, that's interesting, Wong, that you asked me that question. I think that we were able to find that answer relatively quickly with AntConc, but actually, there may be another tool I haven't showed you yet that's better for your question. And you can find that on the link for this basic search methods Word file, so the Ngram Viewer and AntConc one. At the bottom of this, I gave you two other resources, and one of them is the Life Science Dictionary. It's popular with some Japanese people. Yuji, do you know this one?
Oh, I don't.
Okay.
I've never.
So let's all please open this one and get to this web page. All right. So let me just explain first what it is. It's pretty clear. It's like it says, it's a dictionary, but better than many dictionaries, everything is based on life science. So let's just do the first thing and type in symptom and just push enter. So obviously this is made more for Japanese people or people who can read Japanese. But it's still valuable for all of us because it gives us lots of automatic collocations and different word forms. You know, symptomatic lesion. So I think that's pretty cool. And right at the beginning, it gives us lots of synonyms. So I think that's pretty powerful. Okay, but now let's try to answer Wong's question. We can answer your question with this tab. Wong, did you say you can read Japanese?
Yes, but
okay.
corpus. I don't know
okay,
how
so
they-
that's the word I told you earlier. That word is corpus, like I was saying about corpus linguistics. So this corpus is so big, you can type a long phrase and still get lots of results. So let's see. Joyce, can you think of a phrase that would give us what we want? Like maybe show symptoms in? Something like that? Let's try that. So let's do show symptoms in and push enter. Oh. Wait, that didn't work. Okay, never mind. That's funny. I'm surprised there's not more. Okay. So we got the wrong preposition. How about show symptoms of? Wait, I'm probably spelling it wrong? Wait a minute. Something's wrong here. No, I guess my spelling's not wrong. Okay. Oh, well, maybe I know the reason why, but I'm still surprised. Gosh. Well, okay, well, let's just do show symptoms. And can we find something useful here? So if you can sort it like this. This is one to the left. Mutants show symptoms. Oh, here we go. Plants show symptoms. Hey, if a plant can show symptoms, I'm sure an animal can show symptoms. Individuals, trees show symptoms. Primates did not show symptoms. Okay. Okay. This is fascinating to me, you guys. Just because I know that this database is so much bigger than mine. It's maybe 100 times bigger than my database, or at least 50 times bigger. However, the reason that they might not have this is because it's based in abstracts. It's only abstracts from PubMed. And it's possible, like, you know, they just don't talk about symptoms that much in an abstract. That might be something that's kind of listed more later, you know, in the results or something like that. So even though I really, really like this resource, it's got a couple weaknesses. One is it's only from abstracts, and the way people write in an abstract is quite different than how they write in especially methods and results. The other thing that's weak is that the sorting function is not very good. You can only sort one place at a time. However, the size of it, just the sheer size and also the nice thesaurus that they have, because actually this word right here is thesaurus. So this is actually the synonym finder. Oh, sorry, you should just do one word when you do this one. So that's pretty cool to give you some stuff like this. More useful for Japanese people, but still useful for everybody, I would say. Okay, so that's actually all I wanted to show you with Life Science Dictionary. Is that okay, or do you want to ask any more questions with this one?
Okay.
I think this one's pretty straightforward. Now that I showed you about AntConc, I think you can understand how to use this corpus. Okay, final thing for today then. I'd like you to open the Excel file, which I mentioned earlier. This OHEC Keywords by Corpora for students.
Okay.
And I'm going to make this large screen. So you should be able to get a database that looks something like this. A spreadsheet, I should call it. All right, is everybody okay with this?
Okay.
Okay.
Yes. Okay. Yes.
And I asked the other groups this question, and they said they're pretty comfortable with Excel. They all use Excel kind of like with their daily research. Is that true for you too? Do you use Excel pretty often?
Yes.
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 Okay, okay. Yeah, it seems like most of the students are pretty comfortable with Excel, so I don't probably need to explain too much. I'm just checking. Okay, so at the moment, this is organized by frequency total. This is the total number of times that our keyword appeared in the corpus. And so this probably looks familiar to you, right? This is almost the same list that we saw earlier when we looked at the word list. All right. There's also a second frequency, and that's the frequency in corpus number 1. So corpus number 1 is listed right here. And this just means the keywords that are most statistically associated with corpus number 1. I think that's a little bit hard to explain with the, of, and, even for me. So please with me right now, let's actually deselect all of the corpuses, and let's only look at the infectious disease corpus. So can you please open only infectious diseases? Is everybody okay with that?
Okay.
Yes.
And generally when I do this, if I'm looking by a corpus, I find it useful to sort by frequency per text. So now we see that even though protein has the highest frequency total, if we're talking about just words associated with infectious disease, it's not surprising, but infection has the highest frequency. So I'm just going to resort this from largest to smallest by frequency per text. And to me, this information is a little bit more interesting and easier to interpret. Okay, so the words that are most frequent and highly associated with infectious disease are these words. I guess that at least 3 of you know all of these words, I suppose. These are relatively familiar words for you guys, I guess.
Yes.
Yes, yes.
Yes.
So I would suggest like this. One way to use this list is to sort it kind of like this. And then you might want to look at keywords like viral. And you can see what types of phrases are most commonly used with viral. I got all of this information using methods as I showed you on AntConc. And my hope is that this single sheet might be a first screen for you. If you're looking for prepositions, or if you're looking for clusters of words, you may be able to just come on to this document and ideally find what you're looking for. And actually, this is not the best one. Let me go to virus to explain the meaning. So in this case, we have some information that is that has no parentheses, and some information that has parentheses. Basically, this means information in the parentheses is used by multiple authors, and you can probably feel free to use this phrase and not worry about any kind of plagiarism. It's a really, really common phrase. I included the stuff in the parentheses just for context. Plus, in general, the order is in order of decreasing frequency. So influenza A virus is probably used more frequently than of the virus. And then infectious virus is used less frequent. That's basically how this is organized. Another way to use the list is to jump to the bottom. I used control arrow to jump to the bottom. Do you guys know about that one? It's just like a quick way to move around using the control button. And I can use shift to highlight. So now I guess some of these words are not so familiar, or some of them are familiar, but some of them are not.
Yeah.
So this might be a way for you to learn some new words that are relatively frequent, but you may have missed. Of course, some of them are just kind of like an artifact of the data set, like Bifidobacterium. I guess you are mostly virus people here, but is this an important pathogen? I don't know what it is, but do you guys know this one?
No.
No?
No.
Okay.
Oh.
So it might not be important because my data set is not big enough to eliminate false positives. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So certainly some things should probably be ignored. I just don't have that level of knowledge to know what I should delete. So that's why there's going to be some false positives on here. Okay, does this make sense so far?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
so I'm going to clear my filter from corpus 1 and get back to the top. I'm using control up arrow to navigate. People say that writing the discussion and then maybe introduction can be the hardest. And I know that introduction and discussion words often overlap. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take clear my deselect all, and I'm just going to select discussion section and intro section and get my data here. And then I guess I'll just sort by frequency. I usually start by doing that. Okay, is everybody with me so far? Okay.
Yeah.
So people often say that they have trouble with prepositions or with transitions and things like that. So let's focus on those. We have category 1. We have a large category called grammar. So let's just click on the grammar category. So now we have this. And then it's probably good to sort category 2 again. I just sorted A to Z. Now I hope we have some useful groups of words that might help to teach us some patterns. So here's that group of modals, which we talked about in a previous lesson. Here's the group of be verb. Not so interesting. Here's the prepositions. Now, I'm not sure if this helps you or not. I kind of think prepositions are so flexible, so plastic, that the top cases might not help you very much. But nevertheless, I put them here. I think what might be more helpful is things like these, the transitions. I hope that looking through some of these patterns will help to teach you some new transitions that you might not have used before, for example. And you might be able to see some patterns. So here's how people use however. Most often they use as however we found, or however there was no. And one thing I hope you notice is in every case, however is at the beginning of a sentence. Furthermore, every time, however has a comma. This is very strong data. And that surprised me, because in the social sciences, we don't mind using however in the middle of a sentence. We kind of think it sounds cool. But I found almost 0 cases not at the beginning of a sentence. Therefore is almost the same. However, I included a quote to try to explain how another way to use it. And this is using a semicolon. A lot of people are confused how to use a semicolon. I hope I can explain it to you right now. A semicolon divides 2 full sentences that are highly connected. So, high-quality genomic DNA could not be obtained from AUT fetuses. Therefore, only VIA, MEC, and DEC fetuses were genotyped. So notice that on both the left side and the right side of the semicolon are complete sentences. And that's why we can have therefore right here. It's still behaving like it's at the beginning of a sentence. Does that make sense, what I just said?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you. So I'm kind of hoping that when you're writing, you might think, oh, I wonder what transitions I might be able to use. And in this case, we have a list of transitions organized by frequency as they are used in discussion and introduction. And we can see some of them are used on average more than once per discussion section. But generally, they're used less than once per discussion section, which indicates to me that if you are using the same transition more than 2 or 3 times, it might not be good style. And you may want to try to search for more diverse transitions. And I hope that using this list would help you to do that. I'd like to explain one more thing. So now I'm going to clear the filter from category 1. But that means I still have this group of words of the introduction and discussion. And as you see, this is 581 words. So it's a fairly large group of words. And it might be helpful to sort by part of speech. POS is part of speech. So, for example, maybe we want to find all of the verbs. Now, J/V, that means sometimes it's an adjective and sometimes it's a verb. And N/V, sometimes it's a noun and sometimes it's a verb. But here's the ones I really want. I want to have all of these ones. So now I have a set of 124 words, which are all verbs correlated to the intro and discussion. Some of them are not surprising, like our modals and so on. But yeah, like results can be a verb. I think you're familiar with this, like results. These results suggest that. That's not a verb. Our results indicate that. That's not a verb. But here is one, which results in the activation of. I think that's kind of a cool verb. I think that you know all of these verbs, but you may not be familiar with the collocations around them, like suggest. Or how do people use demonstrated? Evidence have demonstrated that, have been demonstrated to be. And let me repeat, this phrase is okay for you to take. It has my quality assurance stamp. This is used by multiple authors, so it won't be plagiarism if you use phrases like these taken from this list. Okay, we are out of time. I just want to show you one more thing on this list. If you look at this tab called Nouns with Plurality, I want you to please open this one. So mine is organized a little bit different. Yours probably looks like this. Oops. Yours probably looks like this. Oops, a little bit different. Where did ethics go? I'm missing ethics. That's weird. Oh, you know what? The filter is still on. You gotta be careful with those filters. Oops. Control Z. When in doubt, use Control Z. Interesting. So the filter carried over. Huh? Oh, no, you know what? I probably did a filter earlier. That's right. When I was doing this with the previous class, I had a filter on. Sorry. Okay. So I'm just trying to get mine to look like yours. You probably have something that looks like this. I would recommend, okay, excuse me. So what this means is I looked at about 1,000 nouns, and I went through and I checked, do they count or do they not count them? So most nouns are countable, but some of them have kind of like, usually countable, like dogs. Dogs is usually countable. Patients is usually countable. And I really want to say that for animals, pigs, animals are usually counted. I know some people think that they should say, like, in pig, the pancreas produces insulin or something like that. You know, that's old-fashioned. It's possible that your professors tell you to talk that way because they are old-fashioned. But the data show that people are very comfortable using animals as countable, as the plural. Macaques and so on. It might be more useful to flip this and sort smallest to largest to see which nouns are not countable, because there are very many nouns that are not countable. Look at how long this list of 0 is. 170? No, that's too many. No, it is. 170 words are never counted. Like, that's kind of crazy to me. I mean, some of them I'm not surprised. Like silencing, you would never say silencings. But still, it's sort of interesting to me. And I'll just highlight a couple. Do you know about Control F? Please push Control F and you can do a search. And I want to find research because I really want to show this to you. So usually I do find all. And I want to find it in the F column. So here it is. Here's the one that I want. Research, you guys, is basically never counted. Out of 531 cases, only 3 times is research counted. Your professors might be saying researches, but please don't write that in a paper. The data are very clear. Research is a mass noun, and it's not countable. So I know that that's hard to figure out what's countable and what's not, so that's why I made this set for you. Hopefully, out of the word you're looking for, it's among these 958 words, and you'll be able to see how most people are using it. All right, you guys. Thank you.